Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. Be with you in just a moment. You're listening to a chill AI vibe, and I don't know what AI made up, but I use it as my trading song. Or studying. I'm studying trading right now. So one 16-minute endless loop. Anyway, it looks like Pedro's running late as usual. Let's get this show started, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever it is in the world you're coming to us from. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show we call DYOR Live. Like here it says on the masthead right there. It's official. We have a graphic. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is March 6th. March 6th. 6. That's 6 in trading language, 6. March 6th, 2026. As I always like to say, one day closer to Christmas, one day closer to my birthday, and one day closer to the sun going supernova and solving all of these crypto and day trading and financial problems forever. Anyway, welcome to everybody watching on all the different platforms here. Getting a little bit of a late start today because we get a late start pretty much all the time. Yes. Anyway, the title of the show today, The Dollar Trumps Oil and Bitcoin Currency Wars Part 3. What does that mean, Tom? Pedro and I have been talking about currencies, foreign exchange, the economies of the world a lot lately. It's been in the news a lot, especially as the world goes to war. Well, the US goes to war. And oil, gold, are predominantly backed by the United States dollar. The petrodollars is the predominant oil trading. Hold on, sorry about that. Just forgot to turn my timer off. The U.S. dollar, otherwise known as the petrodollar, it kind of runs the world's oil market. Not every country is happy with that because we put conditions and sanctions on countries, and they're not able to use dollars, or other countries are not allowed to trade with them and use dollars, like Russia, North Korea. Well, Venezuela, no. Iran, nope. The list is getting smaller. But anyway, and other countries want to unseat that. We've seen the BRICS nations come aboard and say, we want an alternative. We've seen China come up and say, hey, if you're going to trade with us, you need to trade with our currency, the yuan. We've even had India come up by its own and say, we're going to do currency exchange or a big major oil, grain, all this type of stuff. We're going to do it in our own currency, in the rupee, instead of the dollar, because we're tired of the Americans putting restrictions on what we can do with it. Didn't work out so well. We'll get to that a little bit later. Also, in case you haven't noticed, Bitcoin, that's right, the Bitcoin maxis will say Bitcoin is just Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just Bitcoin. Land of the Canadian Bitcoin podcast. Boomer and the crew at the Ottawa Bitcoin Club is like, Bitcoin is just Bitcoin. It's nothing to do with the dollar. Unfortunately, it does, because the institutions now pretty much control the trading of Bitcoin, and people that traded it for a long time really are struggling because they have no idea. They really have no idea how the pricing for this works. And it's not because everyone's holding. Holding does not beget higher prices. Holding begets sell-offs and people panicking and selling when the price gets lower. What makes higher prices is trading. It's trading it, creating a market for it, creating value, creating a seasonal up and down for things. Is scarcity of Bitcoin something? No. That has nothing to do with it. People argue with me on this all day. It's nothing to do with it. There's 2.1 quadrillion trading units. Remember, Bitcoin can be subdivided into 2.1 quadrillion trading units called satoshis. There's plenty of those. What is going on, though, the big banks, financial institutions and all that, which run in US dollars, even the overseas banks, they do a majority of their international transactions in US dollars. Oil transactions, dollars. Bitcoin, dollars. Talk about that later as well. Normally, this is where I'd introduce Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart. Nah, it's not there. See if he's tried to log in. Nope, He's not in the system. I have this overly complicated broadcast system here, but it's working well today. Anyway, welcome Connect Me One. Hey, gents. Thanks for joining us, Miss Connect Me. I am assuming you're a girl since you have a picture. That's a woman. Crazy day in oil and gold. Very crazy day in oil and gold. You can see the gold chart behind me here. Very gold chart forever. Not much movement compared to now. The volatility now is outrageous. Outrageous. But it's good for those of you that are doing day trading. Crypto Unicorn says, whoop, whoop. Welcome, Crypto Unicorns, to the show. Special shout out to Mr. Hodes, who had his NFTs broadcast on here yesterday. No, I forgot to say yesterday. The NFTs that appeared on our show yesterday, it was not a paid spot at all. Mr. Hodes is a longtime viewer and is very kind. He has a Telegram room also, is very kind to let me post our show schedule in there occasionally. So when he talked about his new NFT program, I put it up on the screen, gave it a layer time, and they tweeted the shit out of it. But it was not we didn't pay anyone. Nobody paid us to do that, and nor do I own any of those or anything like that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hear Mr. Pedro in the background. I'm sure he'll be with us in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing me laughing. You can't hear it, but it's just my good friend Pedro. He cracks me up. He just cracks me up. But he'll be on, and I'll bring him on in just a minute here when we switch up the segments here. Pedro, that's fine. You are free to do whatever you want. All right, I'm gonna put your there. I put your picture avatar up there for you. Pedro is having camera problems here today. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only wait, sorry, I was about to introduce you, but I hit the wrong button. The one and only Pedro Garcia. Pedro Garcia, what's happening?
Not much, man. It's a really beautiful day. Nice, bro. Next week's supposed to be all 70s. Happy. The markets. I was honestly expecting a bit of a pump today, but at least on the S&P 500, and I didn't get it. So I'm like, So I mean, I guess we had a pump down. I just saw it more or less.
Well, it was widely known the jobs report was going to suck, which would push the S&P down. I don't know why you thought it was going to go up. Well, maybe it wasn't going to be as bad as they thought. We lost 82,000 jobs or something like that. Not much in the scheme of, 100 million people working and stuff like that, but enough to make the media freak out and like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, Chicago loses 82,000 jobs in a week.
That's funny. That's actually funny. Well, what I think is interesting more than that I think it's hard to, is that if we're finally getting real numbers. Like they're actually posting the real numbers. At least I think they are, right? If we actually if we actually lost 200,000 and only posting 80, right? But I'm almost positive under the Biden administration, they would have not done this. Because it would just look really bad. So it's just interesting to see them actually posting real numbers. At least I think it is. And they're actually posting real metrics that are pretty up to date. It's going to be interesting if they revise it. And if they do revise it, are they going to post more jobs? So, it's a lower number on that. So it's going to be really interesting to see as we move forward. And then we also got to account just the idea that, last month when they had the government shutdown, did we, how many jobs there were actually lost, like in reality. So
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, for one thing, when the government shuts down for that period of time, even though the government shrinks, it's still hiring like crazy because it replaces a lot of people that are retiring, so forth. And all that hiring came to a halt too. So that would probably show its face in monthly numbers somehow, like unemployment went longer than planned, or not as many people got hired as planned, or something like that. I don't fully understand those things, but that's certainly a valid point when the largest employer in the world is the United States. Well, I shouldn't say in the world, but at least one of the largest employers in the world and the largest employer in the United States doesn't hire anybody for 3 weeks. It will affect numbers.
Yeah, so it's going to be real interesting to see how that actually works. No.
Oh. Anyway, Pedro, well, what a day in oil and gold. And for that matter, Bitcoin sucking ass. Let's not talk about that yet, but let's talk about oil and gold. Gold it wasn't like that reached any high prices or anything like that. It was just volatile as crazy. I mean, the amount of money that the companies, institutions were putting in and out. I have to think that some of that money coming in and out was central banks buying gold or hedging or something like that. I mean, the money was too large, moving it up and down so quickly today. It was just, I mean, the trading range wasn't that big of a deal, but the speed, the movement, which, I mean, on the open. The opening candle on gold was like Donald Trump's new flagpole in front of the White House. It just like one day it wasn't there, and the next day, boing! It was quite the boner of a candle, I might add.
Well, if you look at just the monthly candle as of right now, we're talking it's at 90. That's crazy. I mean, literally, we went from it's only been 1 week so far. And if you, and barely, and we're literally from 69 all the way to 90, fucking 21 points.
Oh, that's crude oil. That's crude oil you're looking at. Oh. Sorry, I was just talking about gold. But still.
Sorry, gold. Yeah. I don't know why I put that up.
That was like, 90.
Hey, what are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? No, let's check that out here real quick.
Speaking of poor Willis, his marriage fell apart last week. He had 3 years with the person of opposite of a wrong. I'm trying to say this so YouTube doesn't just immediately tell us to go pound sand. But we'll just say his wife had size 14 shoes.
Really?
and an Adam's apple. And can grow a mustache. Their marriage fell apart last week. Who knew? Anyway.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
The pictures online are really funny. Anyway, gold here moving like crazy today. Like you said, compared to the oil candle, gold hardly. I don't know.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
We'll just use the word. He's made some odd choices with the current or whatever X, whatever. I don't know. However you describe it. I don't know.
Anyways, I just thought that's interesting. I'm just like, what is going on in this world? Anyways, currency wars, part 2.
Currency wars, part 2. But anyway, I'm bringing up and I'll put my chart back on here. Oops, not that one. This one. This is the gold chart here today, ladies and gentlemen. It opened all the way up over there, which I can't go see. That giant green candle over there. That was the open, and everyone was like, "Oh my God!" It was just like this, bam. And then it slowly sold off, took all the gains back off, took it right off, and then did a 1.5 times that. Boom! And came up. And I know you guys look at charts, you can't tell the scale of this because it's just a chart on my wall here. that's not that. We'll just call it not normal, not normal. And this amount of money from here to here in the gold market has to be 10 times the value of Bitcoin. So for you crypto people, it's the gold market. I don't know what's its market cap now, 35 trillion again or something like that. So it's to move pretty much any move in Bitcoin in gold is 10 times the value of a move in Bitcoin. And gold is accelerating that. It's seeming like, and it was fun to watch the market. I sat on the sidelines. I didn't trade it. I'm in class right now, learning to trade properly. But that doesn't mean I can't sit there and analyze it and say, hey, I think it's going to do that, and do the old mental trade. I obviously did not get the open of that at all. That was not something I could foresee. But this downturn here, where after the crossover, the 8 and 20 crossover, I was like, I bet you it's going to come back down all the way to down here, like that. And then I did say, I got it wrong here, and I probably would have got stopped out early in here, and the right trade was to call it somewhere like here, and it went up, so I was close, very close. But it was fun to watch it. Fun to watch it go like crazy. And it's fun for me because for Pedro, for so long, I've been Mr. Crypto Degen. Not like the super pump fun Degen guys, but you know, I started in this business during the last bull run when everything was safe moon this and safe moon that and this, that, and this kind of the people were expecting 100Xs every day on every project. And of course that went well for like about 4 hours. And then it didn't anymore. And I'm stuck with those old trading habits. And now it's good to get some proper trading habits and mentally put those to use. And I'm looking forward to putting them to use someday in the future.
In the degen world?
And leave the degen world completely behind. No.
I'm not. I will never leave the degen world behind. I think the degen world is, one, an anomaly. Two, I think that it will be an area that the institutions will decimate. They will allow it so that they can make a ton of money, because that's free money for them.
Free monies. Now there are two of you up on my screen.
It happens.
Let me go fix that. No, but the point, obviously, I do love the crypto and all that. But the fact that the concept that I would trade cryptos for profit, I don't mean Bitcoin and like Ethereum and, you know, for that matter, even Solana, and then the top couple of more liquid things that are
those are more
tradable.
Investments. Those aren't traded. Those are more investments. You're putting money in for the long haul.
I don't think any of them are investments. I think most of them will go to zero. Not Bitcoin, but Solana, Cardano, all these things. Eventually the people are going to tire of them and just say, all right, we need to move on. Just no different than I am with this business behind me here. And I obviously that's a personal opinion of cryptos and stuff like that, the major ones, but I don't think, let me rephrase that. I no longer think that they're long-term investments, because I think that people have been so they have had to panic sell so many times. I've watched someone who's just a career holder, has dumped their Solana twice in the hundreds of thousands of dollars in panic selling. And now they're saying, I'm just not even going back in. Just saying, no. And if they're doing that, and if someone like me who just watches it's doing that, and that the younger generation kids have no interest in it. I had a discussion with Striking Jr. the other day about this. They're like, none of my friends talk about this. And unless institutions come in and say, we're going to make those financial instruments, I think they're doomed. Anyway, that's a side conversation. That's a good topic for another show. Altcoins, doom or gloom, you know? I'll write that one down. Altcoins. Sorry, Pedro, am I piping the music to you? And is it too loud? Or not? I think Pedro
No, I apologize.
Oh.
I accidentally hit it with my hand again, like I do at times. I was sitting there, I was like, man, he really wants to get this out. Like I'm like, all right, I'll be quiet. Let you.
I'm waiting for you to say something, and I'm like, nope, all right, I'll keep going.
And then I'm like, all right, okay, well, and then I realized, I was like, oh, I'm on the odd button. Accidentally hit it again. No, I think what's interesting is this. I don't think those are going away. I don't think this is a fad. They say this every single time. Because of the nature of crypto, the nature of things, it is deflationary. And for me, I look at it going like, there's no way that because here's the thing. Institutions are always looking for something that's non-correlated to the markets. And there's no way that they're going to let Bitcoin, Solana, all these other coins, at least the top 20, top 50, go away.
Wait, who's not going to let them go away?
Institutions. Because it's
they don't give a shit about them. What institutions?
Goldman Sachs. You have BlackRock. You have State Street. You have a lot of these organizations. You have Citadel. Citadel and why am I forgetting the other one? Come on. We were talking about them the other day when the Terra Luna situation. These top companies are not they're invested in crypto. They are very much going to hold on to this. I don't care what you guys say. I've seen it, I've watched it, and I'm telling you that one the fact that they were part of the cause for Terra Luna to unfold itself. And then we're looking at actual banks coming in now and literally talking about rehabbing potentially Terra Luna because not Justin Sun. What's the guy's name who started can you turn off the music for me, please?
Oh yeah, I couldn't hear your answer to that question.
I'm sorry. It's like in my ear and I'm like, it's hard. All right. Not Justin Sun, the old owner of Terra Luna.
Do Kwon. Yeah.
Do Kwon. The fact that he's serving a 15-year term, but they're allowing for a actual appeal of it. And more importantly, that he's actually appealing for the straight up show, and so is Sam Bankman-Fried, right? He's going through, and he's saying, "Look, no, all these were solid. You got these certain things happen, but you guys came in, decimated everything. You went through, grabbed. You guys did a cash grab because even ultimately, when you look at what happened with SBF and what was the Sam Bank? What was the Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Listen, I don't. You mean the girl Caroline?
No.
What's her name?
The organization that they started. I don't know why I can't remember any of these.
Alameda?
No.
FTX?
Yes, Alameda. FTX. The fact is that FTX, even at its worst, they had a 3x in a matter of 4 years. The amount of money, even at its low, investors made a ton of money. Still.
Well, some did. A whole bunch made nothing and lost a whole bunch of money. Or got 5 cents on the dollar in the bankruptcy. And remember, it did a 3x, but it didn't do a 3x because of investing in fundamentals. It did a 3x because they bought their own coin and then levered it, and then bought their own coin and then levered that, and then bought their own coin and levered that. You and I could do. We could start a token right now, and do that. And we could do it as far as the banks would lend us money. And that would get us to be about a $400 market cap for you and I. But because Sam had the connections in the industry, they kept going back to the banks, and they were enamored by, wow, this crypto, it just keeps going up and up. We better get in on it. And, they didn't have the compliance protocol to check where the money was coming from. It's like, oh, we're giving him money. He's just giving it back to us, and then we're giving it back to him, and he's giving it back to us. Anyway,
So-
let's move on to oil.
But this
All right,
has
go
to
ahead.
do
Finish
with
up.
what we're talking about. The idea, like you're simply saying that they're going to be done with crypto, and it's not. I promise you, it's not. And the primary reason why is because there are easily manipulative people who buy and sell in crypto, and there is a lot of.
Oh, hold on. You took something I said wrong. I didn't say they'd be done with crypto. I said they'd be done with Solana, Cardano, all these top altcoins. They'll be done with. Not a single bank or financial institution actually in the end wants to use some foundation of beatniks that developed its product. Ultimately, as banks always do, and financial institutions do, they want to use their own products and make as much money as they can. Just like JP Morgan has their Onyx system. The Onyx system now moves way more money than Solana and Cardano and all these other alt things combined. And it's only amongst a couple of people. It's amongst internal JP Morgan divisions, their top clients, and other financial institutions that are kind of in their family of things. And they're putting trillions of dollars through that thing. And they're not going to say, all right, well, let's just close this down. Let's just use Ethereum. I mean, they're going to say, no, we're going to start letting certain people use it outside of this, and other banks are going to do the same thing. And soon just like any other industry, the new people that started it up and were the pioneers will disappear, and the people with the really big money will take things over. Maybe that doesn't mean to say that Solana or Cardano or someone like that. I mean, Citadel could come in and buy every Solana that exists right now. They can just boop, come in and buy it, then make it their own, and then start parceling it out and do what they want with it. But they don't, because it's like, it's like buying a company with a lot of weird balance sheets and financial books. You're like, we can't really audit that well. We better not buy it. Let's just buy its assets. And so that's my thought. My thought is that they're definitely going to use crypto because it's fast and it's good. It's newer. It's better. But they'll force us to use their own, or maybe not force us. We'll just start using it. Like one day, the people at JP Morgan, they're people that have $500,000 in the JP Morgan bank, will be able to use their Onyx system and on-ramp it, not off-ramp it into other chains or something like that, or to the European currency market, like that, something like that. It'll be. I don't know. I just can't see them using products that other people developed unless they can buy them or have a seat on the board. Just like the New York Stock Exchange today announced that they're invested billions of dollars in the trading platform OKX. Is crypto going away? No, stock exchange. ICE is heavily involved in it, and they're on the board now of OKX. That's how institutions work. They don't just like buy a bunch of ETFs for Solana. I mean, I think the play was buying OKX's coin. Anyway, we've gone on that.
All right, so let's talk about crude oil.
Let's talk about the oil. That candle, Pedro, you showed. Oh, look at that. I have not been looking at the markets here since I started the show. Crude oil had its pullback, huh?
Yeah, same thing with ES. ES is coming down into this demand zone. Now it's interesting. You understand kind of like what I understand now, or you're getting there more so than ever before. Yeah. And so I also look at liquidity areas, right? Which is basically similar to the type of zones that we look at, but I have an added screening process to it, right? By looking at liquidity. And so sometimes it's one and the same, and it's very much so. Sometimes it's not.
You've got the BTC chart up. We were talking on crude oil, and I was like, huh? I was like, what? Because I looked at because the green candle there on BTC looks like crude oil's candle from today, But then I saw the red candles. I was like, oh my God, it sold that whole thing off back down to $78 today. And then I just went and looked at my crude oil chart, and it shows it at $91. I was like, and then I come back and I'm like, oh, he has the other chart, the BTC chart up. I was like,
my bad. All right, I will pull it up here right now. Give me a second, guys. Boom. All right, crude oil. So this is the crude oil chart. Look at this thing literally jumped from 78 all the way up to $92, and it's still continuing. These are major weekly supply areas. Like this stuff, I can't see it continuing. I mean, will Trump say knock that crap off and stop playing around, right? Like, is he going to allow something like this? You know, and it's going to be interesting to see if he steps in and tells them, all right, you need to drop this. This is crazy. Now, is this based off of what's happening in the Straits of Hormuz? Why is that so hard?
Hormuz.
You know, what's actually causing this? And one, yes, I think there's the geopolitical standpoint, but this isn't because there is demand. This is a part I always bring up is this is
speculation.
War.
Right.
This is all speculation. This is not real demand because people are losing jobs. Because people are losing jobs and there's not enough jobs, it means that people don't have money to go places. So the fact is that we're coming into the summertime, which means, and I always let everybody know, if we have a vibrant economy, you're going to see this pick up, but we don't. So it's foolish. So all this is based off of what's happening in the Middle East, and seeing this huge push is not one of those things I look at and go, oh yeah, this is going to be like, you know, this is going to continue. There's no way. There's no way. Like this is nothing but speculation. I mean, dude, look at this. It's asinine. I mean, literally, the low is 78, and it's up to 92. I mean, and it's not showing any signs of like, hey, let's hang out and chill for a second. Like, it's just like, it's like gangbusters. I saw it this morning, and I said, there's no way it's going to continue higher. Literally what I said. It was like, I looked at it, I said, nope. It's already fully extended for its ATR. I can't see it continuing. And bro, it went from 88 to 92, 4 points, dog. That's just crazy.
It's going to $100, isn't it? Yeah, it's 92 and a half right now, 92 and 30 cents right now.
Yeah, it's real. Like, that's a real play there. Whoever got in, like, at that $78 mark, man, is...
Man, we know someone that did. That was fucking insane, man. Fucking insane.
Yeah. What's your language? No. I think what's interesting is that when I look at certain skill sets, right, that's where I look at things and I go, this is plausible. Like, it's catching something at this level, right? There are indicators that you can play that if you would have looked at, like we look at the hour, come on, it's the 2 hour, excuse me. That 2 hour chart here was telling us, a 2 hour and 4 hour chart was telling us, hey, we're looking to go up. You can see how we're playing off of this coming down. If you're up at that time, which a friend of ours was, he got in around this level here, which is, and he's actually been on the show. He has not been on our show yet. So he's been on mine when I was private or when I was doing it myself. So we should ask him to come on. I'll probably get in a screaming match with him, and it'll be great. It'll be good. Just like I did this morning. I was like, what are you guys talking about? It's all a Ponzi scheme. Like, the whole entire thing's a Ponzi. It's all based off of trust. All of it. Just the economy itself is based off of people believing that the economy is going to keep going up. Consumer sentiment is one of the most important reports that we look at.
It's really the only thing that counts, because if nobody believes in your currency, then you have Zimbabwe.
That's it.
I mean, nothing else matters. I mean, after that, the price of this, the price of that, the price of that, the price of this, the price of that, the value of this, value of this, value of that, doesn't matter. Unless you revalue it on someone else's currency that they do trust. Like if the US currency did do what all the BRICS nations are saying it's to do, it's gonna go to zero. Like that asshole, let me rephrase that. That not well-informed president of Kenya said, you gotta sell all your dollars today, because next week the US dollar is going to zero. And people are like, what? And he was serious. It was like, what? And
I thought he was messing. I honestly thought he was messing. Like we both assumed. Like originally,
he took the money from the Chinese, and they filled his head full of stupidity, and his pockets full of cash. But the point is if let's just say that happened, then who are the Americans going to trust for their currency? Canadians? Maybe we'll talk about that next week, about the Canadian currency and its movements. Are we going to just like adopt the euro or tether gold? All of a sudden, everyone's trading tether gold. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, it's like who do we trust? Well, we trust the U.S. dollar. Why? Because it has this big fucking military out there whooping ass. People trusted the British pound sterling for hundreds of years. Why? Because they had the badass military. And then before that, it was the Spanish. What was their old gold coin? I can't remember what it was. But the world traded on Spanish gold coins because they were going around the world with the best military ever, whooping and beating everyone and stealing all their gold. So they had it all. I mean, that's how the world works. And everyone that says, it's just this and that. No, the world works by people with big sticks going around taking things. And then everybody trusts them to be secure. And if they're not, they go away and the next one comes. But you're right, Pedro. It is based on trust. Like all this thing is all speculation, and people are trusting that the markets are working and honoring their dollars buying this stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what's it trading now? 90. It's gone up since we started this show.
Yeah. Well, yes, but I mean, there's just no way it's going to. I say that. But I mean, we're still
Pedro. All it takes is one tanker to get hit by a missile, and that thing's going to 140 in about a blink of an eye. But as you say, one tanker full of oil, it doesn't have any effect on supply and demand.
Yeah.
There's so much of it out there, but it has to do with sentiment, and speculation.
Really speculation. I mean 98%, I'm gonna say 98, but I mean that's just an arbitrary number. The majority of this push here over the last 2 or 3 days, I mean, since is really everything to do with what's happening in the war, how we're seeing it. I mean, we saw the gap up, sell off, boom, push up, and then it's now it's climbing, but it's not because there is a supply shock. There is so much oil in the actual market for crude oil to actually get it. So this is nothing but just gameplay. And I am so glad I filled up yesterday. I admit, I went and filled up and I said, you know what? There's some stuff going on in oil. I want to go fill up. We'll see what happens, right? And boom, dude, today it's probably doubled.
even though the prices of oil here have no effect in real terms on the price of gasoline for 6 to 8 months. just has no. They just say, oh, consumers will pay more. They heard the price of oil is up, so they'll pay more.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, this is going to be an epic short, though. If it hits that 100.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be. I'm sitting there trying to plan it. Like, oh man, where's it going to go? And this time you can't just rely on the chart though, because you got to worry about oil tankers being bombed and stuff like this. Yeah. But if the war settles, I mean, if all of a sudden a truce is announced and the strait is open and all that, the buy button's going to be like the thing you see on memes and crypto. Beep, 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 sell. It's going to be epic. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of this buying is satisfying sell orders for people that just want to be short. They don't care if it goes up a lot against them because they know it's going to go down, $20, $30 in about a period of an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, the gambler, in every market, there's the smart traders that we know. And there are the people that are conservative traders that pick and choose. People we know too, like yourself. And then there are the gamblers. And they've got $1 million. They'll put $250,000 on it on the line, just shorting the shit out of it, waiting for the news. And a lot of those guys will lose because that's what gamblers do. In fact, most of them lose. but the thrill of winning for them outweighs the monetary cost.
Well, I mean, I really, yes and no. So I think there is a difference between just degenerate gamblers and professional gamblers. I've met professional gamblers, and they have a strategy. They have rules. There's a whole entire system that they use, much like traders use. Like, all right, I'm going in with $500. I'm going to walk away when I'm at 10, 15, 20% for the day, right? 20, and I'm going in, I'm looking to make $100, $200 off of this, with 500. So that's, it's $200. That's enough what I need to make. I've seen guys who literally, that's all that they do, and they 4 hours in the casino, they go in, they play, and then they leave, right? They're not trying to become billionaires. And so like the vast majority of the people are not that way. They like the rush. But I've seen real gamblers.
Sure.
I hate to call them gamblers because they're not. They're really good at what they do. One of the strategies that I every time I go gambling, I picked up from somebody who was a professional roulette table guy. And so I was like, wow, that's impressive. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Because yes, I agree with you. Shorting this is beautiful. Like, I think it's definitely you could short this, but then also at that same time, you're also playing with fire in a sense, right? Like, especially at that, if it hits that 100 point, like I'm looking forward to break the hour chart 8. Like, I'm not going to wait for the 5-minute chart. You know what I'm saying? I want to steep, I want to see it go up here, and I want to see that hour chart. Like, I want to see price so far away from that 8.
Yep.
It's just,
you just have to. You just have to short it. The whole world's going to be short. It's going to be epic.
So it's just like you're sitting there going like, and it may hit that 100 mark. I mean, look, you're literally you're 92 right now, so just 8 points, dude. That's why I think we're going. I think we're going to 100. I think they're going to hit the 100 mark.
I totally agree with you on that.
And then it's just flip and come back down to like, you'll see a giant, bro. You'll see a giant daily wick, dog. Like, bink. Like back down to 79, even potentially down and touch that 8. Just one giant fatty wick. So that's going to be a fun play there. But the key is to see it first break that hour chart. Like, it's got to break the 8-hour chart, right? We want to see a huge widening.
The 8 smooth moving or a simple moving average on the hour chart, not the 8-hour chart.
Thank you. On the 1 hour chart, I want to see the 8 or price get so far extended that literally it's like 8's right here, right? By that time, 8's right here, but price is all the way up here. That's when I'm like, ooh, let's go.
But
right?
the problem is though, Pedro, is that it's going to close that distance on the 5-minute chart or 1-minute chart. It'll close. By the time you see it getting close to crossing it and reach for the button, it'll already be down here at the 21. it's going to go so fast. I realize they gotta unwind a lot of contracts there.
I was gonna say, bro, and if you look, there's like, with your new eyes, you're seeing what I'm seeing. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone.
Yeah, I'm seeing that it's still a buyer's market. I mean, it's
you know what? Yes. So like you're looking at going like this thing potentially could be gone. Hey, Mr. Paul. Okay. So like I think it's important to be paying attention. Like, look, we still got room to play. It's not gonna cut through these, right? Like, look, again, this is putting in. What are we seeing being put in, right? And so
right.
wicks, buyer wicks, right? We're seeing that it's playing. So I don't think it's going to cut through that quick because you've got a lot of buying coming in. I think what we're going to see is a slowdown within the ATR. I think we'll come up. We'll see it kind of start picking up, boom, boom, boom. And then what we'll see is then a slow down deceleration of the actual candles.
Yep.
Pop down, pop up.
That's when the shorts are going to start building.
That's exactly. Boom.
Loading up the position. All the people with the hopium are going to get wrecked. Yep.
Yeah. That's what I expect. And you see that, like, this is you're in calculus. What parabolas is, I remember I had a friend of mine he was actually I was looking at the market and he was doing second semester calc. Curvature, what is it called where you're learning the curvature of the
second derivatives?
Yeah, I think it may be secondary. I know you went through but I was sitting there and I was analyzing.
It's been 40 years.
Dang, bro, you old dog. No, I was playing. I love you, dude. I love
it. Old.
But what I'm saying is this little look right here. Actually, it's a math. It's like a fundamental math.
That's the quadratic equation there, figuring out the curve.
So is that second? That's the second. But that's second year calculus, right? When you're going over that in detail.
Or yeah, but it's also geometry. I mean.
Oh, it's basic. Okay, so he was.
I'm sorry. It's also algebra. Sorry.
But the movement of basically, he was explaining like it's the star movement of how it moves and and when it reaches this moment right here, like this part right here, the acceleration point, right there at that level, that's when it's like the critical. So that
is the second derivative. Figuring out acceleration, like the first derivative of an equation is in velocity. Talking about speed and momentum. Velocity is the first derivative, and its change in velocity is the second derivative. So that would be a change in velocity is acceleration or deceleration, or a negative acceleration, which is deceleration.
Yes. So we were talking, and so I said, well, look, when I'm looking at a chart, and I want to see it turn around, what I'm looking for is literally it to slow down on the acceleration of it going up or down. And then, as our friend talks about how it starts to bottom out right here, like boom, 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 right? Or like, where's it drop? This is a good way, right here, right? This is a good example of it. When you see this, right? You see this turnaround, boom, okay? Right there, that cross between, right, let me do it again, boom. Right here. That right there, the deceleration, where you see the candles slowing down. Okay, it can't go up, it wants to go down. And then at that level, you can see that cross, where all of a sudden now, when the 8 and 20 cross right here, that's that. Maybe I'm not using the correct term, parabola. What's the term where you see the tip where it's going to go down, right? So you see there's no buyers here. You see it turn over. And then all of a sudden, the buyers come in with demand wicks right here.
Right.
And you see it slow down here again. So you see the slow down here, see the slow down here. What's the one of the things I always say? When it's coming down and it's not putting supply wicks, but we're putting in demand wicks, right? That's always the key to saying, hey, it's slowing down. We're going to see it turn around.
That used to fool me all the time. In that the demand wick after the parabola there, I'd
that the right word?
Yeah, I think it essentially is. I mean, It's,
The math guys are probably yelling. It's going, these guys are idiots.
I know. It's what it is. I mean, it's a curve, part of it.
Yep.
But that demand wick right there would fool me in crypto days. Even a year ago, it would still fool me. I'd be like, oh, here comes the big dump. And I'd short it there. And of course, it would just turn right around. And you're like, I lost again. Why? You evil people, you're out to get me. And you're like, no, you're just stupid, Tom. That's all.
But okay, so this part right here, we see that it's now accelerating, right? We're seeing volume come in right here at these levels. And all of a sudden now, here's where your supply is going to be. We see it come and tap it with this. We see it come down again, right? But again, you're not seeing the curvature here, right? It's not like this. And this part right here is not that, right? Like you see that, boom, like that's not that. Right? It's too small. So you're looking at going like, no, it's not going to go down. And you're seeing the cross of the 8 and 15. So now I'm sitting there going like, it's probably going to hold here, right? And so now you can see this is where it pushes up. And our friend, I think he got in right here. I think he got in right here, the 80 mark. Now I'm curious. I guess you could look. Do you remember where he got in?
What do you got up there? Crude oil?
Yeah.
Well, he obviously got in right there. Or there. Wherever the market turns is where he gets in.
But he didn't get in at the bottom, did he?
Well, that was yesterday. Yesterday it was at 78. Overnight it went to, yesterday went up to 81 or so, and then today it went 82 to 90.
I don't have a the area. Anyways, all I'm saying is this: is that this type of move right here, boom, boom, is what, and then you see the turnaround where it goes up, right? That is what I'm looking for here. So as we start to come in, oh snap. Maybe we're talking about it here. So this is, all right, so here's the liquidity area right here. So are they going for liquidity right now? Or are they, oh, what time is this? Boom, it's 12:30, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of time either today. I can't go till 2:30 or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I got to get out of here around 1:30, so 1:32. Oh, by the way, I have another business that I'm looking to be starting. A little, dude. I've been kind of in process of looking for something like this. Remember, I always talk about olive oil and like.
Man, I hope it's a great franchise. With, Pedro's olive oil, little drive-through. You come in and get your olive oil. Oh, that's not what you're talking about. Sorry.
No, man, I'm just simply like, hey, instead of paying $100 for for one liter of extra virgin Moroccan olive oil, how about paying $50? Right, like literally 50% off, and it's sealed and marked in Morocco.
Right.
Like I'm like sitting there going like, got to give that to people, bro. That's too much of a deal. And if you guys know about Moroccan oil, like Moroccan oil is the 24 karat of or the pure 100% perfect oil, for olive oil. So like for me, I look at that and I'm like, that just makes sense to me,
I've got it. Sorry, I'm distracted a bit here with the olive oil and your Godfather business.
Oh no,
That's how the Godfather got started, man. It's good business. Olive oil is used in every culture around the world. I mean, you never can go wrong with olive oil. Cook with it.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And if it's pure olive oil, you can actually go and test it. Like I've been waiting. I had to test the purity of it and all this other stuff. I had to send it out, but I actually got it back, and now I'm actually talking with the distributor right now about selling it and then putting it on the market. And then and I said, listen, I've got a decent crew of guys that I could get to sell this. I go, could you give me a forever code. He goes, anything is negotiable. And we start BSing, having a good time. You know me, I'm a pretty jovial, fun guy. And so after making him laugh for about an hour, we're having a good time. I jump back to business. We're having too much fun over here. He goes, yeah, okay, business. I said, look, I would love to work with you. But I really want something that's going to be for life. What can you do for me? He goes, you know what? I like you. I really like you. I think you're a good dude. And I'm like, thanks, man. I appreciate that. You know, I don't know if I can like you. You got too big of eyebrows. And so he starts laughing again. And then he goes, well, honestly, yeah, I have, let's talk. And so he basically said for life, a perpetual, anytime somebody orders, I would generate money coming in. And they would go through the website that I'm setting up and building. And I was just like, dang, this is legit. This is real. And so I'm kind of excited about it because, I mean, you know, we'll see what happens and stuff like that. But we clicked, and selling something, you know, to me is really, you know, I really suck at selling stuff, you know.
Hey, I'm gonna sidebar it here. I've got another guy in my DMs on Telegram. Pedro, you might get these guys from the Masari group. There's a whole group of scammers. There's a whole group of scammers going around, pretending to be employees there, and they're not. Masari says no, these are not. And they have even a fake Discord. You go in with all the fake employees and the fake people, and this type of stuff. And what they want you to do is like add these bookmarks to your browser. Yes. And all they do is steal your session cookies, and next thing you know, all your money and your bank accounts are gone, and your crypto wallets are gone, and all that type of stuff.
It's a good thing I didn't jump in it.
I know, it was very good. The guy was in my emails. Hey, we see that you advertised on, wanting to host other people's things. We're looking to, have people do that. And I was like, it's all right. I always look into them, that type of stuff, and I said, send me your contact info outside of Telegram. And then they say, oh, we'd like to stay in Telegram. I'm like, nope. And then, so anyway, I let him on for a while. And then I finally said, all right, let's see what the scam is. And then using a virtual machine, I followed his instructions. And I saw that what they wanted to do is that, you have to add this bookmark to your browser. I'm like, all right, what's in the bookmark? JavaScript, ran it through Grok. Grok's like, yeah, this is a well-known scam, stealing your session cookies, blah, blah, blah. So I had enough of it. So I got another guy in there. He's like, what?
That is, yeah, I thought they seemed like they were legit. But like when I was looking at it, I said, something doesn't seem right here. Like, why are they looking for me? Like, not that big of a deal. Anyhow, let's check out what's happening with crude oil here now. Now, again, what's important to pay attention is crude oil and the US dollar is very similar in a sense, right? Because you have the petrodollar, which is basically what's used to exchange value between trade. Pretty much 80% of things that are made in the world are made from crude oil, right? And one of the things I always bring up is just the fact is that if crude oil goes up or down, it does affect not domestically, but internationally. Is it intranational or internationally?
Internationally, between countries, intra
is inside, yeah.
Yeah, domestic, in other words.
Yeah, domestic, yeah. Thank you, I just want to make sure. As you all know, Special Ed Unite, let's go! So I do lack some education on word usage, and I have no problem people making fun of me on it, and I always like to grow and make sure I'm using the correct words. So internationally, when you look at what's happening in the US dollar here, right, we know that we had a huge sell-off, massive sell-off, right, making it more advantageous to do business in America. When the US dollar goes down, many of the other currencies go up, which is a huge thing, right, which allows them to want to sit there and say, hey, we actually have more money to purchase more goods and services. And a lot of places around the world, people know that when you buy from America, typically the quality is, 90 proof, 95%, like it's just top quality.
95 proof.
You know what I'm saying?
I like where you're going there.
You know, or maybe 180 proof is, you know, it's top quality, it's top shelf. Buy from America. And so, in the same sense, like if you can buy some top shelf, and for a deeper discount, that's even great. Now, when you look at what's happening with the crude oil and it's being pushed up, that it's actually artificially kind of pushing up potentially the dollar here, right? You can see here. Now, again, this is more domestic, but it's one of those things that's kind of crazy. Now, I'm going to bring up the, what's it at? Canadian CD, Canadian dollar.
6C.
That's what it is. Thank you. 6C. Boom.
I'm a wizard with these things now. Before I was like, I don't know, Pedro. Now they all came racing back.
You're like on it, like brown on Mexican. What? And so it's one of those things that you can see here that as we're bouncing off, like we're seeing the Canadian dollar actually push up. Now, I think what's interesting here is that, and I was sitting in a session today, and I heard a couple of people talk, and one of the guys was saying that the Canadian dollar is showing strength. Now, I assumed, and this again, we all know what assuming does, right? You know, like because of what's happening in the actual U.S. market when it comes to our dollar, if the U.S. dollar goes down, all other currencies that are paired with it or against it typically will go up or down in relationship to it based off of the economy that's for their exports. And you could see here that the Canadian dollar went from bottoming out all the way down at 0.67 to the dollar, basically $1 being $1, and the Canadian dollar, or it's called the loonie, right?
Yep.
The loonie.
Oh, that's the colloquial name. Like we call it the buck. Like here, I got $10.
I got you.
It's not officially called
like $1, $2, $5.
Yeah.
All right, then the $1 or Canadian $1 here was 67 cents at its lows, but now it's ranging and literally playing at the top of 73 cents, right? And that's people, and this we really saw this kind of at the beginning of the year in December, when we saw January and February, when everybody went to Davos, and we saw Carney talk about how Canada wants to be the America, and then you can rely on us and trust on us and do trade with us, and we'll work with you, right? We won't be like those evil Americans. And so since then, you've actually seen a decent amount of movement in the loonie here. And so I think it's pretty crazy that potentially people might be, instead of doing business with America, you might be doing, because, and the reason why I say this is because of their dollar. Their dollar is so low, even in comparison to the US dollar, they're cheaper, right? And it's still fairly good still fairly good. So people are actually buying and doing trade. And China is as well, right? Like we know that China is trading with us, but also trading with Canada. So I think it's really interesting to see, are they the ones that are actually holding this up almost as a fly in the face of the US dollar? And in doing that, if they're sitting there buying and they want to push it even higher, how far? Because I mean, until it's parity of 1-to-1, which is $1 to $1, which is kind of at the peak here, right? Not, I mean, exact peak, but almost near the peak here of a 1-to-1. It behooves them to trade from a financial standpoint with the Canadian dollar. So it's something that we've been paying attention to. And as I was thinking about that, I was like, are they actually staying in it with them? So I don't know. I think it's interesting. Monitoring the situation here, and we'll find out.
Well, one of the things that I can see what happened is that Prime Minister Carney is a person that does pretty much know everybody important in the world, in the finance world, and I can totally see him being in Davos and talking to people and saying, "Hey, if we start buying up, if I tell the Bank of Canada to start buying up Canadian dollars, because it's kind of that time of year when we make it a little stronger anyway, because we like the tourists that go south to feel a little bit better about the government. So we buy it up. But if we bought it up more, would you guys come on board? And the foreign exchange traders would be like, any external influence, like that little bit of knowledge. I'm not saying it's insider knowledge. I'm saying if they knew that the government was going to buy more than they usually do in this time of year, of course they'd load up. If they knew that the Canadian dollar was, the Bank of Canada was going to buy a couple of $1 billion every couple of days of loonies, the foreign exchange people would load up too. They'd say, all right, well, no, we're going to put $100 billion in U.S. dollars. We'll put $10 billion of that in the Canadian dollar. $100 billion doesn't move the U.S. dollar at all, but $10 billion starts moving the Canadian dollar, no problem.
I don't even know what the ratio would be.
I don't know what the ratio is, but I'm just saying that the U.S. dollar is, the U.S. economy is 10 times that of Canada, and everything is 10 times in the U.S. because our population is 10 times the size. But the dollars in circulation and liquidity of the U.S. dollar is far larger than the Canadian dollar. I don't even know how I could calculate it properly. And so, it takes a lot to move the U.S. dollar. It takes the entire foreign exchange group and governments trading against the U.S. dollar to move it. You know that because you watch it trade against other currencies every day. No one institution, it's not like the Bank of Chicago is going to say, oh, let's sell some dollars, and then everyone's like, better sell. If JP Morgan and the U.S. Treasury said, with weakness is coming, we're going to sell, then that's different. But I can totally see Mr. Carney laying the groundwork and saying, hey, you know what? Because what he needs is that strong dollar, the strong Canadian dollar, to boost his election chances. He wants to have an election coming up, and I know he's plotting it so he can get a majority in the government here. And there is no chance that he will get that. In fact, he won't even call an election unless the economy shows that it's going, and people can say, see, we told you we were right, that the economists can run the economy, which over time has proved false. Like no, there have been very few economists that have led countries and done it well. Very few. And because the reason is because they're not political creatures and they need politics. But Carney's learning. But here, to close my point off is that if he has a currency that's really strong, that will hide the fact that all of his actual programs in Canada are a failure. Let me rephrase that. His lack of programs. He's failed to launch any economic stimulus program. And I don't mean stimulus by government funding private sectors and throwing money around. I'm saying none of the current government here has not launched a plan, has not launched bills or legislation or anything. All they've launched is more bureaucracy. They've created new government agencies to oversee things that were already being overseen. The Office of Infrastructure and Major Projects. They put another level of bureaucracy in between things. So we know that's just going to slow stuff down. And so the people will vote with their pocket, with their wallet. And if their wallet looks good because it's getting on par to the U.S. dollar, people will be like, "See, we told you he's right." And the hangover from that will be incredible. I mean, it will be one of those things that will burn in his face. But by then he'll have a majority government. And nobody cares.
It's so interesting. That is so interesting. It's a lot. I think he's more of a political animal than Trump.
Trump is not a political animal. That he's he's a celebrity leader. Prime Minister Carney is definitely a political animal, but he's new to politics itself. He's always been in the business world and having people around him that say yes, because he's been in control of money for a long period of his life, either his own money, or meaning companies he owns or runs, the country's monies, Bank of Canada, the Bank of England, all positions that are very deferential, and you can see in his personality. He talks down to reporters and everybody like they're beneath him when they ask him tough questions. They're like, he's like, you shouldn't even ask that. You know, that's not a proper question for the prime minister. They're like, yes, they're all proper questions. And
just sound like Trump.
Yeah, he's just not. No, Trump just lambasts him for asking dumb questions. He's like, you're an idiot. It's a dumb question. He's not. I mean, that's just Trump's personality. Mr. Carney does it in a subtle ways. Like, he exerts his power by saying, is that a proper question for the prime minister? And the answer is yes. They're all yes. Yes, 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 yes. But but he knows, because of his positions and running some of the largest, helping run Bloomberg Financial and the whole Bloomberg group, being at the head of Brookfield Management, being at the head of the Bank of Canada, the Bank of England, and being at what was the company that he worked at before. He just knows everybody. So it's easy for him to make calls and without saying anything, say something. He doesn't have to say inside information. Governments don't have inside information anyway. I mean, everything they do technically is public, but we know that's false. But the point is that he can make the calls around saying, hey, the outlook for Canada is that we think the currency is going to get stronger. And people will, the only way they think that is that they're exporting more or the bank is buying up the dollars. And they can see the export. They can see the export ship billets or whatever the heck they're called. Bill of ladings. Billets. And then when they see the currency starting to go up and who's doing the buying, then they know, Carney said he thinks it's going up. Suddenly it's going up, but it's not from exports. The bank's buying. Let's hop on this train and get it going. Good morning, baby Draco. Jesus coming to us from Sucker Free City. Thanks for joining us. What's the car of the day today? Jesus, what's the car of the day? Not car that you want to buy or you'd love to own. I mean, car on your lot. What are you trying to move today? What's the iron that you got to get off the lot to make room for car you're buying tomorrow? Tell us what it is.
Love it. And by the way, I do got to get going here.
I do too. I still have a whole shitload of homework to do. I got busy watching. Goal zones.
Goal zone. Yep. That's what took me the longest myself.
Yeah, and it's just tedious, and it's one of my words of the day was focused, and the market this morning just blew that word of the day right out. A 2012 535 BMW, manual or automatic? If it's manual, that's a really fun car to drive. I think the 535 still came in manuals back then. My sister has a 2012 320, either a 325 or 335i manual transmission, and it's probably only got 20,000 miles on it, and it's 14 years old. In fact, she drove it so little when her boyfriend went to drive it, the tires had taken a set, and after driving a little bit, they were fine. And he took it in, and the guy's like, "When was the last time this car was driven?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know, a while ago." And the guy said, "The tires have dried out and cracked. These are modern tires." The belts were all cracked. Anyway, paddle shifter. Paddle shifter's no fun. Gotta have a clutch.
But I don't even understand how I don't even get those. Like, I was like, they literally gave up like clutches for paddle shifters. Like,
well, it's an automatic transmission with just manual shifting on the thing that you can play with. It's in my car. It's actually quite convenient because my car is not the turbo version, and it's on some hills. It's a little underpowered because the computer isn't smart enough to give it more gas. And so you just blip the paddle and downshift it once or twice. It's got 8 gears. And bring it down once or bring it down twice. And then it automatically upshifts again when it doesn't need to. It's actually pretty cool. But it's no fun. Every once in a while I'll drive my sister's car and it's got the 5-speed manual transmission, and you're like, ooh, fun again.
Yeah, I need to teach my kid how to drive a manual. Like, I don't.
My son, no idea. 23-year-old former mechanic.
That's your fault, though. That's not his fault. That's your fault.
I kept trying to get. My sister wouldn't let me borrow her car. She's like, well, it doesn't.
Bro,
blah blah blah.
Excuse. I don't hear it. It's an excuse. Just say, yeah, you're right. I screwed up. That's your fault. Now I remember, bro. Once I learned how to do it, I had a friend of mine. His name was Andrew Zapata. Good guy. I really like him. Or I haven't seen him in years. I haven't talked to him in years, almost 20 years. But before I went into the military, I remember I had a car, and he was like, I want to learn how to drive stick shift. I go, all right, I'll teach you. He goes, really? I go, yeah, come on in. And so, like, me and him went out, and I showed him how to drive stick shift, and he worked through it. I think he was 16. I mean, at that time, I was 22 at the time. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'll teach you. And just basically worked it through him. Picked it up in like 30 minutes to an hour. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? You just ask your sister, can I borrow your car? And then for an hour, because it typically takes, start with gear, put it into first gear, put it into reverse. Put it into first gear, put it in reverse. Your first 30 minutes is nothing but that.
Right.
And if you can catch the clutch on reverse, catch the clutch on first, reverse, figure that out. Everything else is cake. 15 minutes on first, 15 minutes and 30 minutes, or in reverse. Just figuring that out. Boom, around it. And that's what it was taught me. And then the guy basically took me to a little hill and basically said, yo, your job is to hold the clutch on the hill. And I was like, what? No, it wasn't like, a 50-degree hill. We're talking like barely. It was, but it was enough to where if you were on it, it would kind of start to pull back. That's all we did for the next 15 minutes. And then the last 15 minutes, I just put it all together. And because I understood how to take it in, how to take it out, how to hold the clutch, going from second, third, fourth, and back down, downshifting.
I've taught a couple of kids but not my own son, how to drive because I used to have stick shifts, and I would just show them a picture of how a clutch works. I'm like, there's not the pedal part, but the clutch plates, and say these two things come together. When they're fully together, they transfer the energy fully. When they're fully apart, car doesn't go anywhere. It's neutral. It spins. When they sort of touch, that's the smooth part. And you want to get that sort of touch and give it more pressure, not like this. Then you stall. And most people would get that. They're like, oh, I get it. And then they would know how to use the pedal easily. I was fortunate. My dad got me a motorcycle when I was 12. And so I learned the whole concept of clutch and gas at age 12. And so when my first car was a 4-speed or 5-speed, I can't remember. My mom drove to the DMV, and I got my learner's permit, and I said, I'll drive. And she's like, what? I'm like, Mom, I got it. and they would just backed out of the DMV and then drove home. And she's like, where did you learn to drive? I'm like, Mom, I've been driving a motorcycle for 4 years. like I know how to drive. And what she also didn't know, I was driving the car around the neighborhood too when they weren't looking. But then I taught my sister how to drive. She's had her stick shift her whole life. She still has a stick shift. And she really enjoys it. But the hill stuff, I learned to heel toe it. And so I could use the gas and the brake at the same time. And then of course, use the emergency brake also and stuff. And then I did watch someone burn out a clutch on a Lamborghini using the clutch to hold themselves on the hill. And the clutches on Lamborghinis are about $24,000. I wasn't in the car. I was at the Lamborghini dealer when they brought it in. It was smelly. It was like, oof. It was in Los Angeles. There's only like 4 hills in Los Angeles where you drive a Lamborghini. You don't drive it through the canyons because the roads are so bad. But they came back and They're like, yeah. And it wasn't the owner of the Lamborghini, because it was one of the used cars for the dealership.
Yeah.
It was an employee. Oops.
I mean, that's one thing. That's one car I've always wanted to fully drive. Like, I have a friend of mine. He's a billionaire, and he's a young billionaire too. Interesting. And he is like, he goes, where's it? Daytona. There you go. He gets on the Daytona track, so he rents out. I guess you can rent out part of the Daytona track when it's not like race season.
Yeah, all tracks you can rent. I used to do that with my old company.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well,
yeah, they all need to make money.
Yeah. And he basically we took his Ferrari on it, bro, and Jules is like, pew, pew, pew. Like I was just like, I thought it was like, dang, bro, that's crazy. He made his money in insurance and in real estate guy.
No, we had it where I used to have my factory in Chicago. There's a racetrack called the Autobahn, and it was like a country club, but for car owners who raced their cars. And people had like garages there that they'd buy a plot of land and build their garage and stuff. It was really cool. And you know, during periods of certain periods of the week, the track was available for rent, or parts of it. And I used to rent it to do acceleration and brake testing on our armored vehicles before and after, and that type of stuff. And it was so much fun, because we'd get some car. Most armored vehicles are Suburbans or Land Cruisers, and we're just doing the data gathering, and it's not fun. But then these one guys wanted some Jeep SRT 8s armored, and those things are they're like the Hellcats and Challengers, but for the Cherokee. And so we said, all right, let's take these around the track at speed. And I said to any employee that wants to race their own car, as long as you satisfy the track owner's liability and waivers, you can drive your car on it too. So I had all these kids working for, wow, gold just exploded again. And had all these kids working for me that were like, yeah, I know how to drive cars and all stuff, and I've got this car and that car and that kind of stuff. I smoked their asses. They had no chance. They had no. I was like, this guy didn't. They'd come into the corners like, and I'm just like going. I'm on like Grandpa's Oldsmobile, like, just kicking their ass. But we could rent the track, and it was a lot of fun to do that. Anyway, I know you got to go, brother. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, dude, I love you, dude. I always enjoy these so much. And I know you got to get to work as well. Get to work, Tom.
Get to work. Look at this chart. Oh, that's the crude oil chart.
But I mean,
the gold is going bonkers right now again. It just popped up. Just boop.
And we're in between that daily 8 and 20 right now, actually. So we played off of that yesterday. And off of a.
Oh yeah, look at that. We're in that range.
Yeah.
No man's land.
Yeah. Yep. And so this is always a unique area, especially when it's trying to pick a direction, right? Is it going to continue down or continue up? And so it's always a little hard to see, especially when volume is equal. It's always a little hard, right? Like, are we going to stay in this range for like a few days? Right, where it's just like it starts to do this, and then it either springs up or springs down. So those are always a little bit difficult to play in between wicks and moving averages. It's always hard.
Yeah, Mr. Hode's in the house. What's good, DYOR fam? We're ending the show a little early here today, Mr. Hodes. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the social media postings yesterday. Really appreciate helping get the word out.
Did you notice? I don't know if this is another Mr. Hodes account, but there was I forget the guy's name, Captain Mutant. Did you see him?
No.
He's got like 200,000 followers, and a lot of his things that he posts, he gets a lot of interactions with people, a lot of comments. People look at his stuff, so it's like I was actually kind of shocked, like, wow, he's connecting. So I don't know, I just thought it was interesting that you talked to him a little as well.
I didn't I didn't check what their user counts were or anything like that.
Oh yeah, just like shout out to Captain Mutant. Hey, if you like our stuff, man, I noticed that you always do post and you look at stuff. If you want us to look at projects or anything like that, me and Tom can do some TA and look at those. Tom is becoming a really good trader, and I've had 20 plus years of analysis. So, and I see that you've got a pretty decent community over there. So if you want to, man, look, let us look at some of those stuff that you're looking at as well. It'll be fun. So here we go. My friend, I do gotta skedaddle.
Then get out.
Yeah,
get
man.
lost.
All right, guys. Much love to you. Have a safe weekend, guys. Remember to look both ways before you cross the street. And most importantly, hug your loved ones.
All right, Pedro. Thanks for joining us today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to close up the show here. If you got any last questions, let me know. I turned Pedro off there, but he's still on. But anyway, good talk today about oil, gold. Pay attention to those oil. Pay attention to the war, and you'll get to know where those oil markets are going. Gold is something different. It's just, to be honest, I don't know what fundamentals are driving it, because the talk we had today about the U.S. dollar being the hegemon of the world doesn't lead to more gold buying. What leads to more gold buying is people worried about the dollar and that type of stuff. So I'd like to get some expert opinion on that, and I do know who to ask about that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I had a great week here. We had a great week. We had a great week with the show here. A lot of good viewers, a lot of good comments, a lot of good social medias as a result. That's what I enjoy. Of course, Suck a Free City, thanks for all your comments this week. Really enjoyed that. Had a good week. All sorts of reasons. And now I got to get back to homework. I got studying to do. I got class tomorrow. Really don't know what else. I know I had something else to say here. I'm looking around in my tabs for it. But I don't see the tab. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for you. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to raid. Find someone to raid. Let's raid... Let's raid Simply Bitcoin. Oh, it's that strange guy today.
So $1 billion per day for
Let's raid. For those of you haven't done this before, raiding is part of our Rumble partnership. If you could join us, that would be great. All you have to do is do the raid, let it happen. And then make one comment or two so they know that we sent viewers there. And we always get followers as a result out of it. So engaging the raid now.
One of my buddies, he's Iranian, and he's like,
Just
trust me.
confirming the raid. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the time with Simply Bitcoin. Remember, tell them Striking and Pedro sent you. I'm going to do that like this. Go to Pedro and Striking at DYOR Media has sent me. Thank you very much. And for the rest of you, you're getting the kabong. You know what the kabong is. Ready? Right? 1, 2, 3, kabong!
September, a 100-day war, then I guess it's pretty safe to say that at minimum they will spend about $100 billion for this. operation in the Middle East. Now, what is Hello, if you think I think they have a plan, bro. I just don't think it's going as they planned it, is what I'm saying. Based on their rhetoric, it seems like every other day they're changing what is happening, and it's almost like they're trying to get a narrative that sticks. It's all I'm kind of saying. Obviously, I think they had a plan. But anyway. Anyways, I digress. So, again, if we take the latest numbers that were given to us yesterday about, or maybe it might have been 2 days ago. No, it was yesterday. I think it was yesterday. About we're probably going to be in Iran for a 100-day war. So they're probably going to spend about $100 billion on this operation. Minimum. Or so it seems. And then I don't know if you guys saw this morning, but Trump did just tweet this morning that